is Glenda Holcomb, and I'm coming to you from Hawaii, from the island of Hawaii. I have spent 30 plus years in progressive IT within the government, DoD, and the academic world. And just wanted to start doing some podcasts to kind of put some context around what I've learned over all the years. I know you've heard the saying, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And the same is true in information technology and information systems development. So for this podcast, I want to think of the environment of today being transitioning to the cloud. So if we think back, how many times have there been so-called improvements for overall process and procedures only to see things go back to the way they were when some type of problem arose? In organizations, previous forms and functions and processes tend to morph back into old practices once there is either a leadership change or a policy comes into play. And just as agile is not the total answer for system and software's development, total cloud is not always the only answer for business and government organizations. So I want to look at the cloud today. The pervasiveness of cloud technology has become a part of our everyday business, and for some organizations, going all into the cloud may be the right answer. But for most organizations, I would contend that staying hybrid is probably a better solution. What are the issues experienced by a cloud-only solution? First and foremost, it's the cost of going to the cloud that can bring around unexpected high cost of compute and storage for their new infrastructure. Just because business can now save money on an IT staff, the actual IT, the servers, the connectivity, the facility, the overhead costs that it costs an organization to house an IT organization, it does not mean that the business IT costs are going to be lower just by going to the cloud. According to Krista Gillespie, and she writes for GCN.com, there must be an intensive cost-benefit analysis conducted to ensure that there's going to be a cost savings with no loss of capability to transition to the cloud. She goes on to state that the CBA can be complicated. This is due to the differences between the dynamic nature of cloud computing as well as the proprietary nature of each cloud service provider. For example, I'm going to use the National Reconnaissance Office. The NRO has experienced an unexpected high cost due to the lack of similarity between the classified systems and the cloud capabilities that were brought to bear for the organization as a whole. Specifically, the auto-scaling for compute and store of the cloud and the requirements of intelligence agencies to compute, distribute, and store with a level of certified capability or that level of security that must be enabled. Conkle writes in his article in 2015 that there continue to be cost concerns at the NRO, and this cost concern was prevalent as late as 2018. The issues come from two root causes: the uniqueness of the intelligence mission and the level of data compute and security required, and the inability of the cloud to adapt common applications for uncommon data for compute without extensive software development work. Sometimes this lays waste to legacy data and data systems which continue to work within the architecture of the intelligence services. These root causes lead to the overarching question: does the intelligent community cloud therefore a business transitioning to the cloud meet the risk and data compliance required for all the data. Not supporting the as-is state of applications, data, and security is not cheap and is hard to be quantified, but yet cannot be disregarded. The Cloud First policy that was established by the federal government in 2010 directed the agencies to look to go into the cloud first, but did not eliminate their requirements to stay in their current architectures as well. The issue with the direction was that OMB released the first initiative as part of the federal government IT initiative, but did not specify the guidance on how to endure, how to acquire the security, to procure the systems needed, and the skills for cloud adoption and implementation. Again, the root cause of many organizations going to the cloud is trying to adopt a one-size-fits-all for organizational architectures. The bottom line for the podcast is that no matter if it's technical, process, or people, that is what all architectures are built up of. And to have a policy that just concentrates on the technical eliminates the process and people, parts of the triad that must be enabled before any organization declares one way to do business, a thorough business architecture and re-engineering must be accomplished. I appreciate your time for this podcast, and I'll be coming to you later with more podcasts centered mostly around organizational change. Thank you, and aloha.